met a guy online or something and went out with him and saw that he had all these photos of himself, I'd be terrified.
Red flag.
Seriously.
A lot of red flags about Peter.
Yes.
Be calling 911.
Yes.
Welcome to Holiday Film Countdown. I'm Jamie Walter, and today we are going to Chicago.
That's right. This film is While You Were Sleeping, our 34th ranked holiday film. I'm Tim Walter. Amidst the grunge of the 90s, a bit of cuteness goes a long way, and this film brings the extra cute.
Our first guest is Tori Schulze. Hi, Tori. Please let us know what you're drinking and a quick thought on the film.
Hi, everyone. I am drinking an iced vanilla latte from Royal Blue Grocer, which is my go-to. And I was excited to watch this film today because it's one of my comfort movies.
All right. And our other guest is Eugenia Vela. Hey, Eugenia.
Hi.
What are you drinking, and what's your initial thought on this film?
Well, I already downed my sugar-free vanilla latte from Royal Blue Grocery, and I'm currently drinking water, but I love this movie so much. I rewatch it almost every year. So excited to talk about it.
That's what we want to hear. We're in for a ride.
Yes, and I'm drinking a Waterloo right now, but earlier I was also drinking a latte from the Royal Blue. And my quick thought on the film is adorable. It's the word that comes to mind. It's adorable.
I'm also doing the Royal Blue Latte, and I'm going to say why it's ranked where it is. It is, as Jamie said, in preparation for this one, we're rolling into the good ones now. And from here on out, it's all quality. And that's where this is. We're starting the real quality.
Yeah, While You Were Sleeping was written by Daniel Sullivan and Frederick Lebeau. It was directed by John Turteltaub, and he is best known for directing the National Treasure movies. While You Were Sleeping was released in 1995, which we could tell.
This film was filmed in Chicago, though it was originally intended to be set in New York. That was a cost savings, believe it or not. Sandra Bullock plays the lead, a role which Demi Moore, Meg Ryan, and Julia Roberts all turned down. Bill Pullman and Peter Gallagher also star in this film, and we will all discuss all of the actors and characters later.
So, Tori, what is your history with this film, While You Were Sleeping?
So While You're Sleeping came out 4 years before I was born. And my sister is 12 years older than me, and I think she probably saw it in the theater with my mom and probably one of my aunts. So this movie has been in my life for as long as I can remember. I'm pretty sure we had it on VHS. And it's not just a Christmas movie in my household. It's a year-round movie. It's just, like I said before, a comfort film for all of us. And so, yeah, it would always be on whenever there's, we would just want to watch something that's easygoing and you don't have to think a whole lot about it. That was one we always popped in.
Just wanted to feel good.
Yeah, it's a feel-good movie.
You grew up with it.
100%.
Awesome.
And Eugenia, what's your history with it?
Very similar. I was born already when this movie came out, but I was very young. But I also remember owning it in VHS, and my family would always watch it. It was always a year-round movie too, but I feel like in the recent years, like maybe 5 to 10 years, it's become more of a Christmas time movie for me, or at least once the cozy season starts, because for me, this movie is the definition of cozy.
Yes, and I remember when it was coming out in the theater, I can't say that I watched it every year. It wasn't like a traditional movie, but I definitely loved it. A huge fan of Sandra Bullock, and again, it's such a feel-good movie, and I'm a huge fan of a movie. Well, I'm a sucker for a good love story.
Yeah.
Let's just put it like
too.
that,
What's not to like?
Exactly. So I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. I did not remember all of the Christmas and New Year's in it. I just remembered Sandra Bullock and, well, we'll get into the characters, but the brothers. I remembered that. Didn't really leave that big an impression on me, but then over the years it would be on a little bit. And it is one of those ones you could just pick up anywhere and start watching. It's got some great scenes. It just flows.
It definitely flows. All right, let's go ahead and check out the trailer now.
Jerry, I'm not working Christmas.
But Lucy, you're the only one.
About family.
For Lucy, loneliness was a way of life.
Joe Jr.'s still single.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
But the moment she saw Peter, she became a believer in love at first sight.
He was perfect.
Then fate stepped in.
Mister, there's a tree
his life.
He's in a coma.
Oh, I was gonna marry him.
Who's she?
She's his fiance. No,
He's engaged. Part of his family.
So glad he found you.
You haven't met Jack yet.
It's funny, my brother never mentioned you. Which one of the...
All right. Well, I definitely feel like the trailer gave us the gist of the movie. What do you guys think?
I mean, it gave away a lot of the movie, almost the whole thing.
Yeah, I think we didn't leave anything to the imagination.
Yeah.
After
If
the
you
trailer.
hadn't seen the movie, though, would you want to see it after seeing the trailer? Like, I mean, you're kind of doing the opposite, right? You saw the movie, then seeing the trailer, but do
Yeah.
you think it did its job of getting you curious about it?
You know, it's kind of hard to say because I feel like the trailer is like very quintessentially 90s in the way that it's made.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to describe it other than like it gives everything away, almost makes it seem like it's a made for TV movie.
Right. I think at the time, if I had seen this, I would have wanted to see it just because I love a rom-com in general. I love, like, everybody in this movie. And again, it just looks cozy and warm and comforting. So I probably, like, yeah. I mean, you gave me the entire movie, but I'll go and watch it.
I think if I were to cut this trailer myself, I would have done it like a minute long.
Yes.
This one went on for a little too long,
Yeah,
left
for
nothing
sure.
to the imagination.
Yeah, I think it was just under 3 minutes.
Was there anything misleading about the trailer?
I wouldn't say so.
What about at the end?
Well, yeah, there was that one
What was
little,
that scene?
there was a scene that was definitely cut from the movie. And I've seen this movie a lot, so it's definitely, that stood out with the boss and the hot dog guy.
You should have stayed in the booth.
Yeah. She
Right.
should have stayed in the booth.
Maybe it's in the director's cut. You'll have to check that out.
Wait, is there one?
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, let's go inside the numbers. While You Were Sleeping grossed $81 million at the U.S. box office and $101 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $182 million. It cost $17 million to make, so that's a net profit of $164 million. Very good.
Wow.
I was going to ask if
That's
that was
very
good for
international.
1995 numbers. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And they made 10 times your money.
Yeah.
And 81 U.S. and 101 international. I guess that's how big Sandra Bullock was.
That's
In
that star
1995.
power.
Was this before
Yeah.
or after Speed?
Right after,
Right after. Okay, gotcha.
about 1 year.
Yeah. Yes.
So.
What about the
Yeah.
net?
I believe that was after this.
Okay.
They were around the same time.
Yeah. Young Sandy. Young, like early 90s Sandy is everything to me.
Yeah, definitely.
So While You Were Sleeping has a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and we will all give our own reviews and scores later.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right, well, let's talk about how they did getting us into the spirit of the season. After all, we are doing the holiday countdown. So, what are your thoughts on the decorations? I know we saw a lot of Christmas in this film. Want to name some of them?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard before that people argue this isn't a Christmas movie, and that's wild to me.
There's no argument
There's
here.
no argument.
No
I
way.
noted
No.
that it's 6 minutes into the movie when we establish that it's going to be Christmas.
Yep.
You can see wreaths, you can see Santas, you can see a giant Christmas tree. Very cozy.
Yes.
And I feel like by showing that right away and setting it in Chicago, where you can see snow, they're all wearing cozy sweaters and coats, you're instantly in that setting. And I love it. It's great.
Yeah, anyone who's arguing that it's not a Christmas film, they're watching it with their eyes closed because everything about it screams Christmas.
Yes.
This is our 4th Chicago film, and I believe we have at least 3 more.
So,
yeah,
Home
It's
Alone,
very common.
A Christmas Story,
No,
We haven't got there.
Christmas Story is not one.
that's not in Chicago.
It's in Indiana.
Love a
close.
Chicago movie, though.
Bad Mom's Christmas.
Bad Mom's Christmas, and there's 2 of those. So,
Also, Fred
or one
Claus.
of those.
Fred Claus. Both Home Alones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing we didn't see elves, reindeer, or, well, we saw a plastic Santa, but we didn't see a real Santa,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
We saw the decoration of one.
That's true.
And carolers. We didn't see any carolers.
Excellent eggnog game here.
But
Yes.
Strong
yes.
eggnog game,
Strong
strong
eggnog.
mistletoe game.
What was it? It was a
Absolutely.
warning. Drink the
Yes.
eggnog slow.
Yes.
Yeah, very key mistletoe scene.
Yes, we had a discussion about that. Is mistletoe a real thing?
Yeah.
And we agreed it was. Did we?
Yeah.
I've been
I
around
mean,
it.
Tim and I did, but I don't know. Did you agree, Eugenia?
I mean, I haven't seen it personally in real life. Like,
Okay.
I've never been at a Christmas party where there's mistletoe and people, like, force you and another random person who isn't your partner to kiss. Like,
Yeah.
that's a little wild for me, but...
I've never seen it either. I'm not opposed to it. If somebody,
It's kind
somebody
of
wants to
fun.
hang some mistletoe and throw
Tori's
me
like,
under.
I'll walk around with my own mistletoe.
Right. Fine, I'll just do it myself, guys.
Yeah.
That's funny because, we went to Peppermint Park this year for the first time, and they had a kissing booth. There wasn't mistletoe, but I guess it's something that you do with the holidays. I don't know. I thought that was
Fall in love.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's ready for love, right?
I
Also,
guess there's not really any. Well, they looked like they were eating cookies at one point, but there wasn't like a sweet treat.
No, it was ice cream, remember?
Yeah, they had the
They kept
Baskin
bringing up-
Robbins.
Yeah.
Yes, the ice cream.
I'm a big
Paid
fan of eating
partnership.
ice cream when it's cold, so I support this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
us more about that.
I just love ice cream when it's cold. And I'm also one of those weirdos who, like, kind of bites her ice cream, which I know is controversial.
I can't believe you willingly said that on record.
Well, I think Baskin Robbins, it was a big deal back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my brother's first job was working at Baskin Robbins.
I love that.
Which I loved because I'm 4 years younger. So my mom, when he would work, we would go. And so I got to partake in a lot of Baskin Robbins ice cream while he was working. We'd go see him and
31
get ice cream.
flavors.
31
yes, in Ferris
flavors.
Bueller's Day Off, they say 31 flavors, but they don't say
31
that.
Yeah,
flavors.
it was big back then.
It was big. I did not grow up in this country.
Okay.
But for me, that was a big, like, American movie and TV thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember when they opened one, I think where my grandmother lived was where they finally opened one. And I went, and it was a big moment. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I am in an American movie right now, eating Baskin Robbins.
Neither of the flavors they have in this movie, though, would be ones that I would have chosen for myself.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Chocolate peanut
fudge
butter,
mint.
fudge mint.
So what would you have chosen?
Probably like a cookies and cream situation or something. I can't get behind the fudge mint.
No, I'm a big classic chocolate gal.
Yeah.
Love just chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can definitely do the peanut butter. What was it? Peanut butter and chocolate? Mm-hmm. I mean,
Y'all,
I'm
should we
sorry,
start an ice cream podcast?
But you can't go
I
wrong
mean-
with that. Well, let's just say that was the only thing in Peter's freezer when she opened it up, right?
Yeah.
Were tubs of ice cream.
Great metabolism, I guess, that Peter.
Guess so. Boy, he's got it going on in all
Yeah.
different kind of ways.
All right. One last trope I'll mention.
Okay.
We see a red pickup truck here, which became a hallmark down the line. So they were ahead of their times on that because the real hallmark thing came in the 2000s. All right,
Very
let's
true.
move on to the characters and the actors. Clearly the lead is Sandra Bullock. She plays Lucy. We know her from Speed, Hope Floats, Miss Congeniality, Practical Magic, Crash, and she won the 2009 Academy Award for Best Actress for her role as Leanne Toohey in The Blind Side. What do we think of Sandra Bullock in this film and overall?
She is everything to me. I shared this earlier, but the haircut I have today is because of Sandy B. I was like, this bitch has bangs. I'm getting bangs.
And you're rocking the bangs
Thank
just
you.
like her.
You are
Thanks,
rocking them.
Queen.
You're rocking them.
But part of it to me is that she reminds me a lot of my mother, I think, just in the way she looks. So I always found her to be kind of like a comforting actress, and she's in a lot of these movies that are easy watches and fun and comforting.
So she's practically family to you.
I've always said that. I just haven't seen her at a family reunion in some time. She's too busy.
She's very good at joining families.
She
Yes.
is.
Clearly.
But yeah, my other favorite movie that she's in is Practical Magic. That's another
You've got
classic for
big
me.
practical magic vibes. I can see it in you. I love that.
But the biggest compliment is to call me a witch.
I love Sandra Bullock. She just has that, like, girl next door, very relatable, cute vibe that people actually, I feel like, forget that she's actually stunning. Like, she's stunning. And she's also so funny. Like, she actually has great, like, comedic timing. She's great at physical comedy, which I think she explores in, like, Miss Congeniality and Lost City, which she's in with Channing Tatum a few years back. I love her. She's just, like, a movie star. And especially early 90s Sandy is just that girl. I love her. Great call over. And I love all the other actresses you mentioned were up for this role. Demi Moore, Meg Ryan, Julia Roberts, but this was definitely the right call.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I could see any of them playing it too. I mean, it
Yeah.
probably would have worked okay, but like Sandra Bullock just has that nervous, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do kind of scene down so well when she's on top of Peter and when he fell into the tracks of
Yeah.
the subway. And she's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh my gosh, you smell so good. You know, like
Yes.
just her brain and the way she portrays that energy. I
Yeah.
feel like she does it so well.
Yes. And I think for me, a key moment is toward the end of the movie at the wedding when she gives her speech. It can read as a little sappy, but you buy it from her because she's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't see Demi Moore making that very schmaltzy speech and believing her,
Yeah.
you know, and forgiving her.
Right.
Y'all are stealing my hot take. She's the only one who could. She's the only one who could pull this off.
You
Right.
think? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, like
know,
Tom Hanks
Demi
is the only
Moore
one who
and
could be
Ghost.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Doesn't work.
I think she's
got it.
has a different type of charm than these other women do.
Absolutely.
Not to say I agree with Jamie that these other people couldn't do that role. I think they would have probably done it and done a great job. But Sandy B just has that like very eccentric and quirky charm that
Yeah.
just makes you fall in love with her.
Yeah.
And down home though.
Yeah.
She's got that.
Yeah.
She seems
Yeah,
so
she's homey.
authentic, right?
Yeah.
She's
Homey, but not
very
homely.
Authentic, right?
Yes, yes. I mentioned this earlier, but one of my husband's biggest celebrity crushes, and I fully support that. He's a smart man, clearly. Loves funny brunettes. What can I say?
There you
There
go.
you go. Explains a lot.
Yep.
All right. Well, we have two brothers in this film. Peter, the one she rescues, played by Peter Gallagher. I know him from the OC. I remember him well from American Beauty, an old movie. Shout out Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Sex, Lies, and Videotape. And he also appears in our number 49 film, Bad Moms Christmas.
Wow.
What'd y'all think of him in this film? He had his eyes closed a lot, I know.
Hey, this was an easy gig for Peter Gallagher.
Yeah.
How much do you think he got paid to just sit there?
Just to lie there in bed with good hair.
Yeah,
Right.
the perfect hair.
So it's a $17 million movie, so we got to think talent fees here. Sandy got 5.
She
Guessing.
got $5 million for this?
I mean, maybe 3. I'm just throwing out numbers. But
Okay.
she was big.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we probably got 750, 1 mil. I don't know. What do you think?
Should I go first about Peter Gallagher? I have thoughts. I love Peter Gallagher, but I have a complicated relationship with Peter Gallagher.
Okay.
Because for the first part of my life, I knew him from this and from a very pivotal movie in my life, Center Stage. Any Center Stage fans here? Well, he plays a terrible, a-hole in that movie. And so I thought this actor, when you watch movies like this when you're young, you think the actor is the role.
Yeah.
And so in my head, Peter Gallagher was
I
this
still do
like,
that.
right? Yeah, it's easy to do. He was this like smug, arrogant, like kind of guy. And then the OC came around. And Sandy Cohen, I mean, come on, like undeniable, like one of the best TV dads, maybe not best because that's but he's great. And so now I just absolutely love him. But yeah, those first 2 movies that I saw him in, I mean, I thought he was like a bad guy for the longest time. But Peter Gallagher is important to me, and he still looks incredible. Best eyebrows ever.
Yes.
Yeah. We were big OC.
Yeah.
And the way he adopted Ryan and was a better dad than a real dad could ever be.
Yeah.
That was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, it made me think like, wow, they really restricted Peter Gallagher in the 90s. Like, I'm so glad that they found him for Sandy Cohen because you can really tell, he has great charisma, great chemistry with everybody in that show.
And we're going to get Tori on the OC. by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I've never seen it. This is probably sacrilegious, but I only know him from this movie and from Bad Moms Christmas.
Okay.
Wait, Tori, you've never seen Center Stage?
No, I've never even heard of it until you just brought it up.
You gotta see Center Stage. You would like it. You would like it. Yes. Ballet.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
He plays like a snooty ballet instructor. I don't know the titles, but ballet instructor guy.
Like Eugenia said during the film, he just looks uppity no matter what his role
He
is.
looks rich.
Villain
Yeah.
or
He looks rich.
whether he's a villain or a good guy, he's still
Yeah.
uppity.
I
Talk
mean,
about typecasting.
yes, it's the hair, the eyebrows,
The lips.
the lips,
Yeah.
like,
Powder.
and in this movie, he's got that green, rich bathrobe. And I'm like, only a rich guy owns that bathrobe. Come on. Like, I love it.
That's great.
All right, and we have another semi-character actor, because they're rarely ever the lead. Bill Pullman, plays Jack. We know him from Sleepless in Seattle, Independence Day, A League of Their Own. What do we think?
Well, I think Eugenia should start. She's already blushing.
Tim. I mean, you just listed some very important movies to me, particularly A League of Their Own, which is kind of unfair to Bill Pullman, as well as Sleepless in Seattle, let's be honest. I love Bill Pullman. To me, he's like the definition of like the, like, I don't know, like the average Joe.
The boy next door.
Yes, exactly. Perfect casting with Sandy. He's got that incredible hair, you know, the little swoop hair. And like, I love the clothes in this movie that they make him wear, which I just believe Bill Pullman dresses like that in real life. He's got the denim on denim, the plaid, you know, just
The
your
barn
guy.
jacket.
He's just so charming. Spaceballs should be listed here too. He's great on Spaceballs.
I saw that one too.
Yeah.
And apparently he was a stage actor as well.
Oh.
I can buy that.
him.
See, I'm with you. I
Yeah.
love Sleepless in Seattle, and I love A League of Their Own. But he gets kind of eclipsed in those
Yes,
movies, I would
yes.
say, by other actors. Like you have Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own and Tom Hanks in Sleepless in Seattle.
Yep.
So he gets kind of pushed to the wayside. But
Yes.
this one, it always feels like he hits his stride because he's so dang cute. You just sit there, you want to kick your little feet because I'm like,
He's so charming. He's so, as he says, goddamn likable. And yeah, I mean, also Independence Day, he does, you know, he has the iconic speech there. So I think people appreciate Bill Pullman. And I think there's been a little bit of a resurgence in the last few years of respect for Bill Pullman. But yeah, like League of Their Own and Sleepless, you don't really,
Yeah.
you know, he doesn't get to display his charm that much.
and give it up to the costume designers in this one because
Truly.
they put those jeans on him
I know.
and he's working it.
Oh my God, yes. Speak to it, Tori. I love you.
Rip and all, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes. I make this joke a lot, but to me, he is the blueprint. Love him.
Okay. Well, you know, while we're talking about clothes, we can go back to Sandra Bullock because her character, talking about bringing in the big sweaters and the layering and the chunky clothes back in 1995, it's like still going on today.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
The cozy outfits of the cold winter. And she definitely did it well with the baggy clothes.
Yes, and the high pony.
I mean, in the high pony, yes, which Tori's going to do.
Yes.
And
Starting next week.
starting next week. Oh, even I wanted to mention even the wedding dress, right?
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't, you know, normally they're very fitted, but it was still kind of like baggy on her. I mean,
Yes.
it's interesting. I don't remember. I mean, I guess the 90s was the grunge, but was it so baggy? I'm trying to remember back, but
Yeah.
definitely in this film it was.
Yes, for sure. And yeah, I think it adds to the cozy vibes. And I mentioned this while we were watching the film. Like, I feel like my thing with rom-coms these days is everyone looks too perfect and like too put together. And I like that in this movie, everyone looks like real. Everyone looks authentic, like people you would meet in the street, that you forget that they're all actually ridiculously good looking. But like the clothes add to that a lot. And Tori also mentioned this, that she's the only one that's dressed weather appropriate.
Nobody else is
I
wearing
know.
appropriate clothing. Bill Pullman has on that little barn jacket. And I'm like, there are hardly any layers here, and there is snow on the ground. Where is your wool coat?
Yes.
She's wearing a beanie. She's got the gloves on. She has a scarf.
Scarf,
She's fully
yep.
prepared.
She's prepared. I love
She
it.
is.
And she's got that passport in her pocket.
Right.
Important to mention.
Maybe that's just me being from Texas, and I'm like, you're underdressed, and you know the Callahans are from Chicago, so maybe they're used to it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm diving too deep into character analysis.
They do get used to it if
Yeah,
you're
very
around
well
people
could
up
be.
north.
Right?
If it's 11 degrees all the time and then warms up to around 40, they're like, hey, it's a nice day.
Oh my
And
God.
it's just
Right.
a different mentality. So any other characters here stand out to you all or any favorites?
Well, Joe Jr.
Joe Jr. Love Joe Jr.
Oh, I think he's my favorite in the entire movie.
He's the best. I mean, I love those little side characters. Like, that's definitely a trope, but he does it so well. He's probably the biggest overactor in this, but it works. He's just so charming.
Well, I feel like without him, you wouldn't have as many comedic moments. That
Right.
he is the vehicle to bring all of the funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you all said you wanted to see where he went after, maybe the sequel.
Yeah.
what
Maybe
happened
while
to
you were
Joe
awake.
Jr.?
With Miss Third Floor.
Yeah, 'cause
I love them.
Well, we know they're not together, right?
Right.
Well,
He's
Well,
having
there's
to eat
another
the
floor in the building.
cookies.
There's a fourth floor.
Yeah, he might be on another one, but
No, I love Joe Jr., and he's also behind one of my favorite quotes in the movie, which we'll discuss later.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Joe Jr. I also love Elsie, the grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Elsie's great.
She has so many throwaway lines that just shape the whole family dynamic perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the family makes this film, really. And so I feel like the entire family is one group of favorite characters.
Absolutely. They fall in love with her, and that's really the overarching love story here.
Yeah.
And she reciprocates.
Yes.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to the scenes. So what do you think is your favorite or best memorable scene? Tori, you have one?
I do. I kind of wonder if Eugenia has the same scene as me because we touched on it while watching. But what were you saying?
I just said go for it.
Oh, okay. Mine is the falling on the ice after her and Bill Pullman's character walking back from Peter Gallagher's apartment and walking her back to hers. They're like kind of flirting. They're falling on the ice and laughing at each other. And it's so real.
Yeah. That is one of my favorites for sure. But just to diversify the conversation, I really love the family dinner when they're talking about the actors' heights. First of all, like, so real. Like, constant, like, actors' heights is such a real conversation that people just have.
Right.
You know, now you have an iPhone where you would just Google Tom Cruise height, you know, and you have it right there. But I love that everybody's talking over each other. It adds to the whole family element that, like, Lucy's character doesn't get to have. And so for her, it's so charming, you know, and appealing. But then while this whole conversation is going on, Jack and Lucy are just, like, making eyes at each other the whole time. And I believe it's also the first mention of the type, right? Where they're like,
Yes.
Who's Jack's type? He likes brunettes, you know, but
No,
there's
he
a
said
lot...
blondes, and then the sister's like,
Yes, no, you like brunettes.
You like brunettes.
Yeah, right. But I feel like that scene is really, I don't know, like a great, like if you want to show this movie to somebody, you show this clip, and it kind of tells a lot about what this movie is, the spirit of the movie.
Right.
Lucy, you think you can find me a nice girl for Jack?
Oh, Mom, come on.
Well, I really don't know Jack's type, so I'm not one to...
I like blondes, chubby ones.
Alan Ladd wasn't tall.
Marshall Dillon was 6'5".
Well, we all know who Lucy's type is. His mashed potatoes are so creamy.
You like brunettes?
I could never make a good pot roast.
Yeah, she's saying a lot with her eyes in that scene.
Oh, yeah,
She's
her little
just taking it
smile.
all in and kind of like,
Yes.
this is a good place.
Yeah, almost acting like the fly on the wall, but yet showing everyone that she's loving it, right? But she's just listening to all the conversations going on.
What are y'all's favorite scenes?
I think mine has to be at the beginning when I just think it's funny the way she portrays it when Peter falls onto the tracks or was pushed, whatever. And she's on top of him. And it's like ironic to me because she's probably dreamed of this moment where, you know, she's this close to this guy because she's been fantasizing about him every day at work behind the booth, right? Yeah. And that she's frantic. She's like, oh my God, here comes the train. I got to get him up. What am I going to do? And she takes a moment. She goes, oh my God, he smells good. You know, like she's trying to take it all in, but yet it's a very scary moment. And just how she then reacts to rolling him on top of her and off the track, you know. Yeah. I love that scene. I think it's so funny. And I think, again, Sandra Bullock, I know I said this earlier, but I really feel this way. She plays that hectic, serious, wait, let me take a moment and realize what I'm doing here. I just think she plays that so well, and it comes off authentic, and I don't know, maybe I can relate a little to it. maybe that's what's really coming out. I can relate a little bit to acting like that at times.
Yeah, my favorite is really a chain of scenes. Every time she gets pulled in a little closer, not intentionally, where the nurse hears her say, I'm going to marry him and all that. It's got a lot of Home Alone to it, where you're taking something you would normally suspend disbelief.
Right.
And they're pulling it off. And so I'm trying to picture the storyboard, putting this together.
Yeah.
Because every time she has an out and she's considering it, something flips.
Yeah.
And there she is, part of the family,
Yes.
engaged. And it just keeps going on and on. I love that part.
Well, I think we've mentioned a lot of funniest scenes, but I think one of my favorite funniest scenes is when she is talking to the owner. I guess it is Joe Sr., And he goes, you're single, Joe's single, or you're a nice girl, and you know Joe Jr. is still single. And she looks at him and she goes, shocker.
I know.
So
he has
funny.
his plumber's crack out for the world to see.
Yes.
Shocker. I thought that was so funny. Any other funny scenes that are worth noting?
I mean, honestly, like any family scene is funny. Again, I'm going to mention it again. The leaning scene, like, which we'll talk about with favorite quotes, but Joe Jr. saying, you know, he looks like he's leaning, and then walk away saying, I know karate, and then his little hat falls off. Like, that's just so funny.
From the tree, right?
Yes,
the point,
yes.
the point of his party
Exactly.
hat hits the branch and slides off his head.
I also I think it's kind of overlooked, but when she tells the nurse, I'm not married to him, and the nurse goes, well, next time you're talking to yourself, tell yourself you're single and end the conversation.
That's a great line. I love that line.
I know. I think part of why we're so drawn to her character, to Sandra Bullock's character, is because, you know, she doesn't really lie. Like, other people are lying, and she's kind of just going with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, every time she wants to tell the truth, it's like she's stopped for some reason or another. And she never really said, right, that she was engaged. The nurse is the one who started it all. She was just saying it in her head, like thinking she was going to marry him.
Yeah.
But it's funny because she's not really telling these lies. She's just going along with it. Is that fair to say, you think?
I mean,
It's gray.
it's a
gray?
gray area. I do
It
think
is
that,
gray.
like, it says a lot about her character because she is such a, like, sweet, sensitive girl who, like, doesn't want to hurt anybody. So they also, like, focus on the fact that, you know, the grandmother's
kill the
not in
grandmother.
the best health. Right. And she's just worried about it. But also, you know, selfishly, she loves the family. She's alone. So there's
So
that.
she's like, well, okay, I'll just keep going.
Yeah. You can't help but fall in love with the family. And so she wants to sit in on it a little bit.
True. I think that's what was so sweet at the wedding towards the end. And she's like, I fell in love with all of you. And the dad's like, with me? It's so funny. She's like, all of you.
Yeah.
So sweet. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, I think we've covered a few quotes, but does anyone have any particular quotable lines they want to bring?
Well, I could quote this entire movie, and y'all watched me basically do that for
Yeah.
the last
We
hour
sure
and a
did.
half. But one that I quote all the time, and I know my friends do too, is, you stood me up.
Joe Jr. has a lot of them. The leading moment is big for me, and that's probably my favorite quote. But I also love at the Christmas family gathering, the grandmother says, I don't drink anymore. I don't drink any less either. And I just love that.
Clever.
I do want to go back though to one scene that tells a lot about Peter's character, and we talked a lot about when we were watching it, are the photos of him. I mean, in his apartment, there's just a photo of him, and in his wallet.
Multiple photos
Right.
of himself. Yes.
And I remember I had forgotten about, but I think it was you that brought it up about the sweater. He has that white sweater on, and it's framed sitting on
Black and white.
on the black and white,
Yes.
the silver frame of just him. Maybe it looks kind of like a glamour shot. That's back from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
On his, what would you call it? Like, it's not an island in the kitchen, but
Like a
it's
peninsula.
Like a peninsula
Yeah.
right there right as you see as you're walking in, right? Of
They're
himself.
everywhere.
He has one of
Yes.
those, and then he has in his wallet the photo of him holding the tennis racket.
The tennis
too.
racket and like skis or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I just, like, if I were in her shoes, or if I met a guy online or something and went out with him and saw that he had all these photos of himself, I'd be terrified.
Red flag, red flag.
Seriously.
A lot of red flags about Peter.
Yes.
Be calling 911.
Yes.
Great job by the filmmaker, though, because that's an example of showing, not telling, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
Which I also
100%.
mentioned when we were watching, and I was like, I love that you start to see all these little clues that not everything is as it seems with Peter.
Yes.
Because obviously, you know, she just sees him and she thinks it's love at first sight. Really, he's just a good looking guy. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But then you see, you know, the lawyer friend, instantly getting defensive and being so aggressive. And it's kind of like your friends show a lot of who you are.
Right.
And then all the pictures of himself. The apartment. I mean, it's like this pristine, very modern apartment that Lucy would never live in. Like,
Right.
her apartment is so cozy and warm and cluttered. And so I feel like the filmmaker does a good job at showing who Peter is before we actually really get to meet him.
Plus his real fiance.
His real fiance says a lot too.
Yeah.
Right.
And you had to put in all of that work up top and do it subtly because he's out of it for the entire movie.
Right. He's just laying there getting paid.
Yeah. So, so I mean, that was a really strategic choice on their part because, you know, you could have had Saul or someone in the family say, you know, say something derogatory about Peter, but instead you're kind of giving the audience little clues here and there and letting them come to their own assumption.
Yeah. Once we know, then Uncle Saul does say, Peter, you're a putz.
Yeah.
But Uncle Saul calls himself a putz, too.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
a good way of breaking the news.
I mean, he is possibly the villain of the story, y'all. Uncle Saul. We'll talk about that later, maybe.
Yep.
All right. Any more quotable lines, or we want to move on from that? Move on? Okay. So that brings us to the moral of the story. I would say don't judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was kind of judging Peter, as we said earlier, just by his appearance, but on the, well, I don't want to say the outside, but I guess really on the inside, he's not exactly who she thought he was, who she thought he was, or the life that he was leading. What do you think? What do you think the moral of the story is?
Yeah, I think for me the big one is that love comes in surprising ways. And so, you know, you watch this and on the surface it's clearly a love story between her and Jack, but it's also a love story between her and the family and seeing them grow so attached to her and welcoming her into their lives with like reckless abandon almost. They're so ready to have her there. So I would say it's that, or even the line that the father says, or she says that her dad would always say is, life doesn't always turn out the way you plan.
That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm joking a little bit, it's you got to lie a little bit to get what you want.
There you go.
No, but
work the system.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to work the system. No, but I do think that, like, for me, a lot of it is about bravery in small ways. Because one of my favorite scenes, which I didn't mention earlier, is the scene where Jack tells his father that he doesn't want to go into the business with him or be in the business anymore. And I feel like they talk a lot about taking risks, taking chances. Lucy, you know, like she dreams of going to Europe. She dreams of going to Italy. Highly recommend, by the way. And so at the end, we actually find out that she quits her job. And for her, that's kind of like taking the big step to changing her life, which she took that lesson from being in this family for like a week. And Jack also doing the scary thing of telling his dad that he doesn't want to be in the business with him. So for me, a lot of this movie is kind of like the small ways that we can be brave to change our own lives.
Very true. And I just want to mention that I felt like the writers did a good job of how the dad handled taking that news.
Love him.
I mean, you kind of thought, oh, great, here it goes. Dad's going to be all mad because he doesn't want the family business. Instead, he's like, why didn't you tell me earlier? I could have took your mom on a cruise with
Kathy Lee
Gifford.
I love it.
I mean, I love his reaction. Like, it was almost like he was a little relieved. And then he's like, man, you should have, mentioned I would have sold it for twice its worth to.
Yeah, I will say this movie is also very pro-dad. Some good dads in this movie.
Definitely.
But that even makes you fall more in love with the family, too.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
I love him. And also, there's clearly something wrong with Peter because he doesn't appreciate his own family, right?
I know, right?
Yeah, and everybody else sees how great they are.
Exactly.
I mean, I kind of talked about this earlier, too, but I think the most charming and endearing scene to me is when she finally agrees to come over for Christmas, and you look and the camera pans across the fireplace and you see everyone's stocking that has clearly been in the family for as long as they've been around.
Right.
And then you see Lucy's. It's just so sweet.
I know. My mother-in-law did that for me the very first time I went over for Christmas. She had a stocking ready for me.
See, that's sweet. That's
It's
the
so
type
sweet.
of family you want to marry.
That's a good sign.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think going back to Peter and Jack being raised in the same family kind of brings up the nature versus nurture debate. So we won't get into that. I will say also that a prevailing theme is loneliness at the holiday time is tough. The event had not happened. It's a lonely story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Again, why I think Christmas is so crucial to this story. Like, again, people, if you think this isn't a Christmas movie,
it's
watch
sort
it
of
again.
And she works the holidays, right?
Yes.
She's the one who works the holidays.
Yeah, because she doesn't have a family. Right.
Right. And somewhere, I wrote it down, but now I'm like, I can't really quite remember. Maybe one of you do, where the family was like, oh, we have Peter back. Like, they felt like maybe he had strayed. He became too big for them because he was the lawyer and
hotshot downtown high-rise guy.
Right. And they're just kind of like,
right.
I don't want to say typical, but, you know, just that warm comfort family. And maybe he thought he was just too big or too successful for them.
Too big for his britches.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yep.
So y'all want to get into some hot takes? We have any here left? Let's go.
I struggle with this question, but something I thought about while we were watching, I was like, is Uncle Saul the villain of this story? Because it's wild that he would rather the family believe that their son has amnesia than just tell them the truth. And then also let his godson and this young woman who he clearly really likes get married when they're clearly not the right fit. I mean, come on, Uncle Saul, what are you doing? I know that that's like the whole point of the movie and that, you know, but
Honey's like,
crazy.
I can't suspend my disbelief for this.
I can't just for that. I'm like, Uncle Saul, what are you doing?
So do we think Uncle Saul eventually told everyone that he knew all along? Or do you think he just kept it buttoned up?
Probably eventually. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like after a couple sips of some eggnog,
maybe
maybe he let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at some point too, like to your point earlier, where Lucy is pretty honest throughout the whole thing. So I can see a world where she says that Saul knew and she confided in him.
Yeah.
She'd probably tell Saul to tell everyone. So she didn't have to.
Yeah, but then
hold that
with his
secret.
character, he wouldn't do it. So she'd have to go up there and do it anyway.
True.
Yeah. Does anyone have any real hot takes here?
Tim, I feel like you might.
I did, but you all took it. I mean, it was basically that Sandra Bullock is the only one who can pull off this role.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She's warm enough. You got to be warm. And those others that were listed that didn't take the role, they don't hit on this.
Well, it's true. And we were saying earlier watching this film that if the tables were turned and it was Sandra Bullock, the one in the hospital and and Peter was the one, it would be creepy.
As originally intended. This
Right.
they changed it. It was originally that the female was knocked out.
Right.
It wouldn't have worked.
And then it would be like really creepy and weird. And
I'd be like, great, he's preying on her.
Yes, exactly.
And she's defenseless.
Yes.
And she doesn't have a family. Nobody to back her up.
True.
It's so true, yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on to the parent guide. It's PG, and I think that is totally appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we both grew up watching this movie as kids. so
Anything that is like overtly like PG-13 or sexual in any way went right over my head.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think there really was anything.
Nah.
There was no bad
Very subtle.
language, right? I don't remember.
No.
I
It's
think it
PG
was-
all the way.
yeah,
I'd watch
me
this
too.
with my parents or my kids.
They don't even kiss until they're engaged, right?
Yeah.
I know.
No, they don't. Yeah, this is a totally fine movie.
Yeah.
We're
very
almost
appropriate.
G.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you can show it on TV without editing it.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Regular TV, whatever that is now.
Can't wait to watch this with my kid when she's a little older.
Aw.
I'm excited.
Like one more year, right?
Not quite right.
Not quite.
All right, let's do the soundtrack. So everyone here likes the opening.
Yeah.
This will be, in parentheses, An Everlasting Love
I
by
said
Natalie Cole.
when I said when we were watching it that I've always, if I ever get married someday, that I would love to have that song included in my wedding somehow.
It's a great song.
Classic.
Yeah.
It's classic. It warms you up. It sets the tone for the movie right away.
It does.
Do you know who Natalie Cole is?
Of course I know who Natalie
Okay,
Cole
good.
is.
You know
Right.
Unforgettable?
Unforgettable.
And you know Nat King Cole?
Yes, I know Nat King Cole too.
Christmas music legend.
Right?
Oh, so good.
The music, I can like hear in my head when I like dun 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 dun. Like I feel like does a great job at like the feeling of the family.
Whimsy.
Like it's this whimsy, this comfort, and I really like that about this. But I will say, other than that opening song, there's no specific song that instantly comes to mind about this movie.
So there aren't many credited,
True.
Right.
only about 7. Winter Wonderland and Let It Snow by the Glenn Miller Band. So it's a big band background, kind of goes with the older people. And then we have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by
right.
Ella Fitzgerald. And the rest is pretty instrumental.
Yeah.
So Old Lang Syne,
I love
instrumental.
the score.
Background, but did its job.
And Old Lang Syne is just the hospital staff singing it with one another too. So
Oh, yeah, they're toasting at
New Year's.
midnight. Yeah.
Right.
Lots of unprofessional doctors in this movie, I feel like. There's that one doctor who's like, but she's not family.
I know.
Like in front of everybody. Like not very professional.
This is before
Jesus
HIPAA.
Beyonce.
This is pre-hippie, y'all.
Yeah.
True. All right, are we ready to rate it? What do you think, Tori?
Remember, we do decimals, but this is a 3.5 according
So-
to Letterboxd.
Oh, a 3.5 score on Letterboxd?
It is.
Well, I'd love to tell you what I have on Letterboxd for it.
Pretty sure we have the same thing.
That would be great. Let's hear it.
Let me pull it up here.
All right, real time here.
So I have 5 stars on Letterboxd. And my review that I wrote earlier this year was, I want to be Lucy, but I'm a lot more like Joe Jr.
This is a 5-star for me too. And a little heart on Letterboxd. It's both. But I will say that this is the thing about Letterboxd. Like everyone has their own way that they think of ratings.
Yep.
And for me, most of my 5-star are usually big nostalgic movies that I've watched a million times in my life. So it's not necessarily a reflection of the quality of the movie, more about my relationship to the movie. So for me, this is an all-timer 5 stars.
The way I look at it is, if you've seen 1,000 movies, and this is in your top 50 or maybe even your top 100,
Yes, it is.
it should at least be a 4.5, if not a 5.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so this meets that for both of you.
Yes.
This is our first 5-star by anyone on this countdown.
Wow.
by the
Are
way.
you serious?
Oh, yeah.
I'm honored. Well, I would
We got a
also
double.
like to say that on my review, which I wrote on November 29th of 2024, Eugenia did respond to my review and said in all caps, "Yes, Tori, yes."
This was long before we knew we were going to do this podcast.
Yes.
Y'all. I just want to
Yes,
make sure that's
we're just
known.
both big fans.
Big
So this is
fans.
all real.
That's why you're doing it.
It's
This
all
is
real.
real.
That's why you're doing
Yeah,
it with us
yeah.
here today. I think I'm going to rate it at a 3.5. I love it. Again, with going with what you said, Eugenia, it's kind of my connection to this. It's not one that I feel like I have to watch every season. I've seen it a few times. I enjoy it every time I've seen it. I definitely am up for watching it at any time, but there are a few that are ahead of it.
Okay.
But I am a sucker for a good love story.
And I'm usually one who's around Letterboxd. I'm going to go 3.8.
Okay.
It brought us in, and we were totally engaged the whole film. And it was fun.
True.
And it
Did your
has
kids watch?
nostalgia. You know, they haven't really watched it because I saw it in the theaters. Then I saw it when my kids were not watching movies or not born.
But I can
And,
guarantee you that our daughter will love it when she sees it.
You'll
Oh,
have
we
to
have one.
report back.
Yes, please.
She's a sucker for a
Please
good
report
love
back.
story.
Well,
too.
she is a Swiftie, so all of that tracks.
She is. All right. So, with that very high rating, Tori, would you recommend it? I know you would. And to whom? Whom would you recommend it to see?
I'd recommend it to everyone, but I just want everyone to know that you're never going to love it as much as I do. It's only for me. No.
We haven't had that yet either.
First time for everything. No. I would recommend it to anyone who's a sucker like us and loves a cheesy little rom-com, a mindless watch is what I often call these types of movies. Yeah, and if you're just trying to get in the spirit of the season.
Yeah, I'm a big seasonal watcher for sure. I would definitely recommend this movie to people who love a good rom-com, who appreciate like a comfort watch, and who just like that kind of nostalgic 90s era look. Because it definitely, like, it feels like it looks like it reminds me of, like, what the 1994 Little Women looks like. Like, especially in the trailer, I'm like, that looks like that Little Women. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, and with you saying that, we were talking about earlier for the 1997, was it 97 or 95?
95.
95, sorry. They didn't have the social media, so she could get away with saying but now with
That's
everyone.
so much of the problem with today's rom-coms.
Right, there's no way you could get away with saying, oh, wait, I'm, his fiance, and no one knowing.
Never.
Right.
But I would recommend it to anyone who wants to watch it, anyone who loves a good rom-com. I'm definitely going to recommend it to my daughter because she's going to love it. I do love a good feel-good, and it was a good feel-good. So, Tori, what is your favorite holiday film?
Oh.
Big question.
That is a huge question.
I know.
I think a lot of my favorite movies generally happen to be holiday films, and it's probably just the whimsy that it brings, or the sense of nostalgia is really heightened during that time of year.
Yep.
One of my favorite films of all time, and it is a holiday film, is The Holiday with Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, and Jude Law. That one is perfectly done for me. I love the score by Hans Zimmer. Jude Law in glasses should be punishable by law because he looks amazing. I want both of their homes. I love it. I love everything about that movie.
That one has come up quite a bit.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That one is...
You're at least the fourth one who has said The Holiday.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm shocked, but I'm also not by that because it's kind of like a secret.
And it's kind of risen in the last few years, I feel like,
Yeah, I'd
from
say
when it
so.
came out.
Nice.
Eugenia, what is your favorite holiday film?
So, While You Were Sleeping is pretty high up there. It's pretty high up there, but if I think about holiday, I think about childhood. And for me, childhood is Home Alone 2. Yeah, Home Alone 2, to me, it's like, it has to be watched either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It's New York, it's your own cheese pizza. It's that giant Rockefeller Center tree. And it's Hijinks by Kevin McAllister. I feel like every kid wants to be Kevin McAllister.
Yep.
Which, also leads me to one of my other favorite Chicago movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I feel like Kevin and Ferris are kind of connected. But yeah, I feel like when you're a kid, you want to be Kevin McAllister.
Yep.
And it's a big Christmas movie for me. So I think that would be number one. But While You Were Sleeping is pretty close.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that's 2 weeks in a row that we've had a Home Alone 2 as a favorite.
I mean, it's iconic.
Yeah.
And we are working our way toward it in the countdown.
I
We will
bet.
get there.
So, Tori, is there anything you would like to promote?
Anything I'd like to promote? Everyone follow Paramount Austin on Instagram. Looks really good for me. Same with Moon Tower Comedy.
Yep.
No.
Yes.
I mean, actually, please do. That would be great for me.
Letterbox?
Yeah, I do have my own letterbox. It's only_Tori with 2 I's, so Torii. I probably have more hot takes there than I did here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, check her out.
Eugenia, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, I guess I'll share my letterbox too. It's at Vela B. And, if you want to listen to me yap or read my yapping about movies I love, then follow me on there.
She
Okay.
is a pro letterbox user.
I don't do ads, y'all. It's just a pain in the butt.
We will have those in the show notes
Okay.
so people can find you.
Yeah,
you.
definitely. Check them out. All right. Well, thank you for joining this discussion of our 34th ranked film, While You Were Sleeping. Please like, follow, and comment on this podcast.
Yes, please share and spread the word about Holiday Film Countdown. Thank you, Tori and Eugenia, for joining us.
It's our
Thanks to
pleasure.
all of our listeners, too.
Yeah.
That was fun, guys.
Next week, we're moving on to our 33rd ranked holiday film.
which will take us to Silver Falls, Ohio.